Good morning. We're delighted to have with us today some guest musicians who will be performing a concert here as the PSO soloists on April 29th. So if you would, please join me in welcoming them.
Good morning. Welcome to the UU Church of the South Hills, also known as Sunnyhill. We're delighted that you could join us for this service. Our mission at Sunnyhill is to create a more just and compassionate community within and beyond our walls. My name is Ella McGaw, and I serve as a worship associate for this congregation. If you're a newcomer or visitor, please go to sunnyhill.org and click on the button that says New to Sunnyhill to receive more information about us and to receive our weekly email newsletter. Also, if you'd like to be greeted as a newcomer after the service, please take a red mug and members will seek you out and make sure you are warmly welcomed. If you're joining us online today, please say hello or good morning in the comments on Facebook or YouTube. We'd like to hear from you and extend a welcome to you as well. For all those who are here in person, a gentle reminder. Please silence your cell phones and other electronic devices so that we can enjoy the service uninterrupted by buzzing or ringing. Today's service is titled, A Theology of Trees. As this year's Earth Day celebration approaches, how can we live more like trees, and what kind of theology is suggested by the life of trees? We'll explore these questions and more in this service. Our opening words come from Representative Justin Pearson, who was expelled from the Tennessee House of Representatives after protesting its lack of action on the issue of gun violence in the wake of the recent school shooting in Nashville. He was later sent back to the House by his local district. Last week, Pearson delivered a sermon at the First UU Church of Memphis, also known as the Church of the River. Pearson said, "Because we spoke out against the empire, against those in positions of power, because we spoke out against the empire of the NRA and the gun lobbyists, because we demanded an end to gun violence and an end to the proliferation of weapons on our streets, and an end to the funerals we attend day after day, week after week, month after month, and year after year. Because we did that, they thought it better to get rid of us than to actually solve the problem." 55 years ago this week, Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was killed by gun violence. And I tell you what, the words he spoke just days before he was assassinated are still true. The movement lives or dies in Memphis. The movement for justice lives or dies in Memphis. The movement for democracy lives or dies in Memphis. The movement to end gun violence lives or dies in Memphis. Today, may we remember that the movement lives or dies in us. The movement for justice lives or dies in us. The movement for democracy lives or dies in us. The movement to end gun violence lives or dies in us. The movement to protect and restore our environment lives or dies in us. May we remember, and may we keep the movement alive. Please join me in saying the words to light our chalice. We light our chalice to keep alive the flame of justice, the warmth of compassion, and the fire of commitment.
Please rise and bow to your spirit to sing our opening hymn this morning, Blue Boat Home.
Away
Please be seated.
Good morning. If there are any kiddos present and want to come up for our Time for All Ages, now's your chance. Come on up, friends. Let's see. I'm going to sit right here. Good morning, friends. I like it down here with y'all. Today's story is called Be a Tree. We're almost there. There we go. Be a tree. Stand tall. Stretch your branches to the sun. Let your roots curl, coil in the soil to ground you. Your spine is a trunk, giving you shape, holding your crown, channeling your food. Your skin is bark, dead on the outside, protecting what's within. Beneath your bark are layers, such as sapwood, carrying nutrients to help you grow bigger and taller, and heartwood, strong as bone, to support you. In your heart center is your pith, keeper of nutrients when you were a sapling. High above, your crown may be round, weeping, pyramidal, broad. Let it spread, shine overhead, collecting sun, filtering dust, shading your roots on hot days. Wave your leaves in the wind. Can we do that together? Can we wave our leaves in the wind? Yeah, just like that. How about breathe in air? Drink in sun. Not yet. Not yet. There we go. Drink in sun. Let them fuel you and the world. How do you drink in sun? I love drinking in the sun. See yourself, branches and leaves above, roots below, trunk in between. You are a tree. And now look around you. Can we look around us? Look around at all of our friends here. You are not alone. You are one of many trees. Our roots twine with fungi, joining all trees in the forest together. We talk, share food, store water, divide resources, alert each other to danger. A wood-wide web of information. We purify the air, we anchor the soil, preventing erosion. Our dome of joined crowns swings and straightens, slowing high winds. Our bodies and branches and roots are homes to birds and mammals and insects. We sustain ecosystems. Immigrant trees, away from their natural habitats, are vulnerable. But together, a forest of trees is strong. Mother trees nurse young trees. Old trees shade new trees. Strong trees shelter weak trees. Healthy trees help sick trees. A family, a community, a country, a cosmos. There is enough for all. So be a tree, for together we are a forest. The end. And with that, we will sing our kiddos to the religious education classes.
My name is Terry Alvarez, and I'm a member of Sunnyhill's pastoral care team. Our mission is to reach out to members of the congregation who are going through challenges or significant life events, whatever they may be. It's our personal connections with each other that offers a kind of loving presence, and that is what binds our community together. The pastoral care team is here for you, and if you'd like to know more, please seek me out after the service. Each week at this time, we share joys and sorrows submitted by members of the congregation. Joys and sorrows may be submitted online from our website, sunnyhill.org, or by filling out a paper form in the fellowship hall. After each joy or sorrow that I read, please respond by saying, "We hold you in our hearts." A joy from Louis Patella. Louis has lots to be grateful for. He has been accepted into the free FAA drone pilot certification program, had half of his rent paid by the Wounded Warrior Project, and now awaits word from the VA to raise his disability that will give him a significant amount of peace. He asks for good vibes for a positive decision. To Louis, we hold you in our hearts. A sorrow from Rachel Butler Party. I am battling some health issues that landed me in the hospital, and I am going through many tests related to GI issues. There are some tests that they will be running. We are hopeful for answers that will lead to improved health. To Rachel and her family, we hold you in our hearts. From Sandy Shannon, a sorrow. Sandy received a call from Caroline Mange that her husband Steve had passed away. Steve was Robert and Shirley Williams' son-in-law. Steve had his first stroke 6 years ago, and Caroline was told that he would continue to have many more. Steve had recently celebrated his 68th birthday in the same memory care unit that his father-in-law, Robert Williams, had been in. Steve was so very talented and kind. Steve and Caroline had a wonderful life together, and she is grateful for the years that they spent together. Bob and Shirley, Steve and Caroline, delved into the art of cooking wholeheartedly. They were one of the first to try their hand at cooking the famous turducken. Bob and Shirley were both loved members of Sunnyhill for many years. To Sandy and the Mange Williams family, we hold you in our hearts. A joy from Will Page. It was so nice that many folks told me last night at the auction how much they enjoyed the food, especially the lasagna. I was glad to be a part of it, but I want to be clear. The kitchen commander last night was Bethany Thornton. And I was merely the assistant pot washer. Thanks everyone who helped pull off such a wonderful and fun event. It was nice to have it back in real life after the virtual pandemic auctions. To Will and Bethany, we hold you in our hearts. A joy from John Armstrong. When Judy and I first joined a UU church, we were told that the best way to meet people and become part of the tapestry of the church was to volunteer. Last night's service auction was a perfect example of people coming together to pull off an incredible event. And the cleanup afterward was the best ever. The sanctuary was cleaned, the floor was vacuumed, and chairs put in perfect alignment, and Judy and I were home before 9. One more thing. Who knew that when we hired Bethany Thornton, that we were getting 6 people in the bargain? All who have contributed above and beyond to our church community. It's a joy to especially recognize Finn for the amount of work he put into the Last Chance Prom. He is great to work with. He did everything from making extra sauce, chopping garlic, zucchini, and 20 pounds of mushrooms because he is a fun guy. Fun guy? He came up with a way to add shelves to the fridge to store 16 lasagnas and built the measuring devices to perfectly align the tables so we could seat 170 people. And that's just the tip of the Finn iceberg. to John and Judy, Bethany, Finn, and the entire Thornton clan, we hold you in our hearts. Another joy from Judy and Jeff Spiegel. To everyone who helped make last night's second chance prom so successful, thank you. The dinner was delicious, the decorations beautiful, and the live auction, silent auction, and party sign-ups and raffles were incredibly well organized. A special shout out to Mary Jo Hennessy, auctioneer extraordinaire. My husband and I haven't laughed so hard in ages. To Judy and Jeff, to Mary Jo, all the volunteers, and for our wonderful community, we hold you in our hearts. Oops, okay, back to now. We're not done. As we listen to our musical meditation, we invite anyone who feels moved to do so to come forward, light a candle, place it in the sand, and then return to your seat.
Please join me in the spirit of meditation or prayer. Remember to return to the breath. Take a moment simply to sense breath coming in and breath going out. When you are struggling, breathe. When you are celebrating, breathe. When you are trying something new, breathe. When you are facing the same old challenges, breathe. When life is good, breathe. When everything comes unglued, breathe. Sitting here right now, surrounded by people who care, breathe. In the silence of this moment, breathe. Breathe in the peace of this place and this moment. Breathe out the love that longs to be unloosed in our world. May we remember and return to this place of openness and breathing throughout all the moments of our lives. Amen. For the past 7 or 8 years, I've traveled each summer by myself to the mountains of western North Carolina to spend a week reading, hiking, writing, and planning. It's during this time that I come up with some of my ideas for sermons, including this one, as a matter of fact, and for other church programs and events. So it's a productive time for me. I always come back feeling that I have accomplished something. But my primary purpose in being there, in making this annual pilgrimage to this beautiful place, is not to accomplish things. Rather, my purpose is to step out of my ordinary day-to-day life and step into the life of trees. Each year, I make my way to this tiny cabin in the woods, surrounded on all 4 sides by trees, and I immerse myself in the green, growing life of those trees. I always spend the first few hours after my arrival and much of my time throughout the week not reading, not planning, not writing, not even hiking, but instead just soaking in the iridescent green that is all around me. The experience is, for me, healing, life-restoring, and life-affirming. Trees are considered sacred in virtually every religious and spiritual tradition. From the beginning of time, earth-centered traditions have recognized the sacredness of trees. In the Bible, the tree of life comes up again and again, both in the Hebrew and Christian scriptures. In Buddhism, the Bodhi tree is a central character in the story of Buddha. In Hinduism, various deities have identities that are intertwined with trees. And it's not just those traditions, but also many others that feature trees as a central aspect of their wisdom and teachings. Trees and mountains and rivers are sacred things and have been recognized as such by human beings for millennia. And trees inform our thinking not just as metaphors for something else, but as ends in themselves, as the physical embodiment of nurturing and healing the earth and all living things. Wendell Berry, perhaps more than any other poet, understands the significance of trees, both to our imagination and to our physical existence. In his poem titled A Vision, he writes, "If we will have the wisdom to survive, to stand like slow-growing trees on a ruined place, renewing, enriching it, if we will make our seasons welcome here, asking not too much of earth or heaven, then long after we are dead, the lives our lives prepare will live there, their houses strongly placed upon the valley sides, fields and gardens rich in the windows. The river will run clear as we will never know it, and over it, bird song like a canopy. On the levels of the hills will be green meadows, stock bells in noon shade. On the steeps where greed and ignorance cut down the old forest, an old forest will stand. Its rich leaf fall drifting on its roots. The veins of forgotten springs will have opened. Families will be singing in the fields. In their voices, they will hear a music risen out of the ground. They will take nothing from the ground, they will not return, whatever the grief at parting. Memory, native to this valley, will spread over it like a grove. And memory will grow into legend, legend into song, song into sacrament. The abundance of this place, the songs of its people and its birds, will be health and wisdom and indwelling light. This is no paradisial dream. Its hardship is its possibility. Wendell Berry is one of our contemporary poet prophets. Like the biblical prophets, Berry speaks about what is, about the dire nature of our current circumstances, and what might be, about a vision of abundance, of indwelling light, of hardship transformed into possibility. If we will have the wisdom to survive, he says, and it's not a sure thing by any means, is it? But if we will have the wisdom to survive, to stand like slow-growing trees on a ruined place, renewing, enriching it, if we will make our seasons welcome here, asking not too much of earth or heaven, then a long time after we are dead, the lives our lives prepare will live there, their houses strongly placed upon the valley sides, fields and gardens, rich in the windows. So trees for Berry, for poets and prophets throughout the ages, have served as metaphors for growth and interconnectedness and rootedness, and as the actual physical means for healing and transforming all of life as we know it. Some of you may be familiar with the work of Dr. Diana Beresford Kroger, As described in a recent New York Times article, Diana Beresford Kroger is a medical biochemist, botanist, organic chemist, poet, author, and developer of artificial blood. But her main focus for decades now has been to telegraph to the world, in prose that is scientifically exacting yet startlingly affecting, the wondrous capabilities of trees. Dr. Beresford Kroger's goal is to combat the climate crisis by fighting for what's left of the great forests and rebuilding what's already come down. Trees store carbon dioxide and oxygenate the air, making them the best and only thing we have right now to fight climate change and do it fast, she said. Her admirers, who included the late biodiversity pioneer E.O. Wilson, say what sets Dr. Beresford Kroger apart is the breadth of her knowledge. She can talk about the medicinal value of trees in one breath and their connection to human souls in the next. Beresford Kroger is one of those individuals who brings together the ideas of trees as both metaphor and means for transformation. While not all scientists agree with her assessment, Beresford Kroger has a plan for saving the earth. In a recent interview, she said, "We have something like 410 to 420 parts per million of CO2 in the atmosphere right now. So if you plant, every person, this is my global bio plan for saving the planet, one tree, native species to native area for the next 6 years, you will have in the ballpark of 50 billion trees put back into this planet. You will pull the CO2 event down from the 400s backwards into the 300s. You can stabilize that in the 300s, and it reduces the temperature, it reduces the greenhouse effect. It gives us time to re-regulate the carbon cycle. That's what it will do for us. And, she continues, it's very cheap. You can go out and get an acorn. If you feel that you've got a terribly bad back and you can't possibly use a shovel, then go and get a trowel. Get an acorn and get your kid to plant an acorn. So it's really a very simple thing to do. But Beresford Kroger notes while her plan might be simple, it's not necessarily quick. She says this is a long journey because we have to pick up where we left in destroying the world. We have to put it back together. And that's my concept of the bio plan, she says. The bio plan is to take each little part of your world around you now, be it a pot on a balcony, look after that. Look after the trees, look after your street. Look after the people on your street. And that, over time and with enough participation, will actually save the planet. Beresford Kroger then advised the reporter interviewing her to lean against the tree before writing her article. People, she said, should look at forests as the sacred center of being. Without trees, we could not survive, she said. The trees laid the path for the human soul. For any of these plans to work, we must recognize trees as sacred. We must fundamentally alter our relationship with the natural world and with ourselves. A story is told about a tree that stood right in the middle of a village. It had been there for as long as anyone could remember. Its roots, big and strong, its branches reaching out all across the center of the village. Its fruit was juicy, sweet, and plentiful. The people of the village loved this tree. Children played beneath it and climbed up on some of its lower branches. Young people knew that if you whispered your dreams to this tree, they might come true. People who proclaimed their love or friendship for one another beneath its branches found their relationships to be nourishing, and elders discovered that their sweetest memories came drifting back to them when they were near this tree. The tree had been witness to so much, and when the breezes blew through the leaves, one could almost hear the echoes of generations, laughter, conversations, dreams, prayers, and songs. Animals loved the tree too. Rabbits lived in burrows under the roots, squirrels in the branches, and birds flew in and out to eat the abundant fruit. One day, a traveling merchant arrived in the village. He rested and ate 2 pieces of delicious fruit from the tree. "This fruit is incredible," he said. "I'd like to have some to take and sell to the next villages. Who owns this tree?" he asked. "No one owns this tree," replied a villager. "If anything, we belong to it." "Well, then, if no one owns the tree," the merchant said, "then no one will mind if I pick the fruit." And he began to fill his basket. "I mind," said the villager, "and today I am the keeper of the tree." "What do you mean, keeper of the tree?" "We each take our turn being here with the tree. We could never own it. We are here as protectors and sustainers." "That's ridiculous," the merchant said. "This tree doesn't need you. You could just take what you need, take what you want, and this tree will continue." But the villager couldn't be persuaded. "Sir, this tree isn't like that. We don't come here to take from it, even though we do receive much. We are the keepers of the tree, because this is where we are nourished. This is where some of our most precious memories are, where our people have dreamed. This is where we remember who we want to become." "Well," said the merchant, "you may think this tree is very special, but it still doesn't need you to sit with it. That's preposterous." The villager replied, "The tree itself may not need me, but what of others who come by? Just this morning, I sat with a woman whose heart was heavy with worry. Had I not been here, she would have had to carry that weight alone. And this afternoon, a tired couple came by and they rested with me. They said they had been looking for a place like this. And then an elder came by and we watched the birds in the branches together. And now you are here. You were confused about what this tree is and how to be with it. Imagine if you had arrived and not found anyone here to talk with you. You might have continued thinking that everything you do is all about you. Luckily for you, my friend, I'm here to let you know that when you care for the tree of life, it becomes about so much more than just you. And the merchant sat for a while in the shade, thinking about these ideas that felt new and a little challenging. As the sun went down, he picked up his bag and headed out of town, whistling a song that he hadn't thought of in years. On his way, he shared a smile with each person he met, his heart feeling strangely light and joyful. And the people of the village, they continued to sustain the tree of life, to care for one another, and to share their gifts with grace and gratitude. I hope and pray that we will have the wisdom to survive, that we will embrace and care for the tree of life and for one another, that we will plant trees as an act of reaching for our own salvation, and that in so doing, we might experience that place of health and wisdom and indwelling light. May it be so. Amen.
Please rise again in body or spirit to sing For the Earth Forever Turning. Please be seated.
It's time for our morning offering. We don't have a designated offering this morning, so our collection will benefit Sunnyhill and help defray our operating expenses. If you'd like to make a gift via our online giving system, you can do so by going to sunnyhill.org and clicking on the button that says Online Giving, and then follow the instructions, or give by text at 412-324-3130. For those of you who are here with us in person, we'll be passing our offering baskets in just a moment. Thank you, everyone, for your generosity.
A couple of words about this particular, the last composition we'll play for you by Johann Sebastian Bach. most of Bach's music was, excuse me, written for church services, cantatas, etc. He was an organist in the church. And this particular aria from St. Matthew's Passion, the composition, of unbelievable beauty and depth. But that one aria, the name of it is Erbarme dich, mein Gott. Have mercy on me, my God. And as the voice of God, the violin of Goddess, and the voice of man as I take the vocal part, as two doves in the air and spin, and time to time the voice becomes one. As Bach joins the actual two lines into a unison, and then it splits again. I think it's one of the most amazing compositions of Bach's and overall ever written, in my opinion. We hope to see you on the 29th for lots of great music here in the church. Thank you.
Please join me in saying the words to extinguish our chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Just a couple of things before we go. I want to add my thanks to the others that were shared during Joys and Sorrows, about everyone who helped with and participated in last night's service auction. Just a beautiful and glorious event. Sometimes I wonder during dark moments where it is that we find hope in our world. And one answer for me is in this place. When you see people coming together to do something, like happened last night, like happens every Sunday morning, it is such a beautiful thing. And it is so moving to see it come together. So thank you to everyone who had anything to do with last night, who had anything to do with today, to our musicians for the beautiful music that you shared with us today. Thank you so very much. Also, anyone who's interested, we're having a brief Sunnyhill 101 session for anyone who's a newcomer who wants to learn more about our congregation. It just takes 40 or 45 minutes. I'll be leading that along with Bethany in one of the rooms across the hallway there. So just look for me if you're a newcomer and you're interested in learning more. For now, we'll close with these words. Go in peace, speak the truth, give thanks each day. Respect the earth and her creatures, for they are alive like you. Care for your body. It is a wondrous gift. Live simply. Be of service. Be guided by your faith and not your fear. Go lightly on your path and walk in a sacred manner. Go in peace.